Hello and welcome to another episode of Internet Marketing Revealed. My guest today is Mandy Beresford Verboort. She's an affiliate marketer in the UK, but actually she's a little more than just an affiliate here in the UK. She's actually one of my top affiliates for my Walk Away organic marketing training program, and she went on to make $1,079.22 in just 7 days using only her Facebook profile. And I was so impressed with that I actually created a case study around Mandy and what she did to achieve those commissions. But not only that, she also went on to make over $30,000 in another affiliate program. Again, she did that completely organically. She didn't pay for any advertising or anything like that. So I'm sure in this episode, we're going to get a lot of insight and a lot of tips and advice on how you can do the same yourself. So first of all, welcome to the show, Mandy.
Thank you. Hello.
Great to have you on here. So let's start at the beginning. I know that you're from Hertfordshire, which is sort of near London for the benefit of our listeners who are outside of the UK.
Yeah, it's only just outside. It's the overflow of London, really. It's called.
And have you always lived there?
No, I was born here and I moved away when I was a teenager and I came back about 15 years ago. So
Okay.
I was like, I lived down by the sea down near Eastbourne. So in a village, though, not, it was really nice. It was lovely in the summer, killed you in the winter. But no, I came back to Hemel because my mum was ill and I came back to look after my mum. And I've been here ever since.
How does it compare then, living in a village by the seaside, which you would think is quite idyllic? I mean, we live about half an hour away from the nearest seaside town to us, and you always think, yeah, I'd really like to live here. This seems like an ideal place to live. I mean, how does that compare then to where you're living now?
In the summers, it's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I mean, it's still beautiful in the winter, but it is so cold, and the breeze comes across. Because I was only 10 minutes from the beach, so in the car, that is. It took a bit longer to walk it, but it like the wind was coming from the sea right across. All the weather come from the sea, and it was freezing, absolutely freezing. But I did love it. I did love it down there. But things change, and I came back at the back penny.
How about just give us a bit of insight into what you did before you got into this whole online thing. So between your time in Eastbourne and when you came back to Hemel, what sort of things were you doing for work?
Well, first of all, I was a housekeeper, children and husband and everything for years and years. And then when that all parted, I became a salesperson. I was one of the dreaded door knockers. I did gas and electricity for a couple of years. And then I went on to internet and telephones. And then from that, I went on to catalogues. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. Kept me fit. I was very skinny. I was, it was face-to-face sales, and it was pretty easy. It was really easy in comparison to what I've done this last couple of years online. It was so easy, but then everyone would think, it would be the same sort of thing coming from a sales online. It's really not. It's totally different because it's not face to face as such. And there's so much to learn, so much to do. And without the right tools behind you, you can't get anywhere. But then when I came online, I signed up with a beauty thing. getting ready for the wrinkles and things like that. I thought, yeah, we better do that. But I was talked into buying an awful lot of products and scammed out of quite a bit of money,
Oh,
and
wow.
moved on from there to a massive, great big thing, thinking I was doing the right thing. And I bought into it, and shortly afterwards, the government in America closed it down, and I lost every penny of my savings in it.
Oh, wow. I mean, we can go into each of those in a little bit more detail in just a sec, because it sounds like you've had quite a few experiences in both of those different programs. But I mean, just to wind back a bit first, to go back to the door-to-door sales. I mean,
Yeah,
that sounds like it could have been a really solid proving ground and an opportunity to train yourself as a salesperson, even though door-to-door salespeople get a lot of bad rep. I
yeah,
mean, nobody really likes getting interrupted during their day with a door being knocked and somebody who you haven't asked to come to the door is trying to sell you something that you don't want. I mean, it probably is the most sort of, what's the word I'm looking for?
demoralising.
No, no, no. The most sort of untargeted way of selling, because you don't know who's on the other side of that door.
No,
So it has to be
yeah.
a total numbers game in effect, but it'll teach you an awful lot about sales.
When I used to go out, I used to tell myself there was 10 people that were going to tell me to go away in a nasty way. When I got to that 10th, it always worked. It was really strange. It was like the 10 people were your warming up time, and everything was great. But I mean, there was lots of people in between those 10 that were nice, that were pleased to see you. And it was a numbers game. It really was. But face to face is, though,
I mean,
it's,
how many doors were you knocking on an average day? Would you say back then?
oh God, it was hundreds. It was hundreds. I used to go out in the morning for a few hours, and then I used to go out in the evening.
Oh,
Um,
wow! So it was
yeah,
all day and all night.
all evening till about 8:30 at night. Because if you knocked someone's door after 8:30 at night, you were going to get more than your 10 go aways. But it was, I mean, it was pretty good. It was pretty good if you went to the right areas for what, you know, you got the equipment. It was just like getting apps, I suppose. They gave you walk sheets that told you if the people already had your services, or if they were blacklisted, or all that. You had that information, so you knew what doors to knock and what doors not
Okay,
to
so
knock.
there was a little bit of targeting going on there. You weren't going in completely blind as such then.
No, you always got something that would help you. And it was like, even if it was whole areas, don't go near this whole area. You got a lot of that.
Yeah. So I mean, how long did you do that for?
I did that for about, altogether, because I did three different jobs doing door knocking, so it must have been for about 15 years
Oh, wow. That's a lot of
together.
doors.
Yeah, yeah, it was good though. You got a company car and lots of other stuff, so it was, it was pretty advantage
So
to
I
it.
imagine over that time, obviously, you would have spoken to literally tens of thousands of people, knocked, tens of thousands of doors in that time, and you're likely to have developed a really thick skin in that
Yeah,
time, because the majority of the time people are going to sit in as a
yeah,
nice answer, they're going to say no,
yeah,
as the response. So
yeah,
I would have thought that would have been some quite good preparation for the online marketing world, whereas now, if you're trying to sell something to somebody online, what's the worst thing that can happen? They say no.
yeah,
And I think that's something that does phase a lot of people because they don't want people to say no to them. They have a product or a program which they think is the bee's knees, and they think that it's going to help everybody, and that just because they have it, that other people are going to want it, when in the real world that doesn't necessarily happen. And I think people take a rejection, they take that personally.
Yeah, no, you've got to be rejected to win.
Yeah, so whereas for somebody like yourself who has 15 years of being told no, and not just
Yeah,
on the internet or on Messenger or on the telephone, actually face to face,
yeah,
having that door shut, shut
yeah.
in front of you, then I'd imagine that any kind of sales online now isn't going to affect you in the slightest.
No, it's. I mean, there was all sorts of people out there, and I got used to lots of stuff. I mean, we had I got trapped in someone's house once, but luckily we were working in a team, and one of my team came and found me.
Oh wow!
They
What was
came,
the story
yeah.
behind that then? How did
Well,
that
the
happen?
guy said, "Oh, my wife's in the front room. You need to speak to my wife. Would you like to come in?" And you just automatically walk in, don't you? And I walked in, and he bolted the door behind me,
Wow.
and I thought, "Oh!" And then when I got to the front room, which was about 6-7 feet away, there was no woman in the front room, and I babbled. I really babbled, and until it was Adit. Adit come and knocked on the door to find where I was, and the guy had to open the door. But it was pretty scary at the time. It learnt me a lesson. I stopped entering people's houses willy nilly, and then I got another one. I had an appointment. It actually came through from head office. Go to this flat. It's an appointment, and the guy opened the door starkers. And I went, whoa, hang on. And he kept going, "Oh no, come in." I'm like, "No, it's all right, thank you."
And was that after you'd had the previous experience where you
Yeah,
were trapped in? Yeah, so
yeah.
you certainly wouldn't be entering
I
a
wouldn't have
house.
rented anyway. Not with
Somebody
him
was
being
stark
starkers.
naked inviting you in.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I suppose it's easy to maybe laugh at it now, but as you say, it was at the time it would have been quite
Oh
a
yeah,
scary situation. And I think that it's good actually that you're not just assigned an area by yourself. It sounds like you were either partnered up with somebody or in part of a team that were covering a certain area.
yeah. They basically used to send us out 4 or 5 together to an area, and then you did it that way. You were separated, but at the same token, if one of them, luckily enough, the guy he'd had a bit of a problem, couldn't work something out, and he came to find me to solve the problem for the customer. So if that hadn't have happened, I don't know what would have, sort of thing.
How did you know what house you were in then? Did you have some
And
kind of
he knew
tracking or?
what block I was in. It was a block, and basically with it, you get he'd be on one floor and I'd be on another, and someone, because we'd cover the block, and that's he knew what floor I was on, and he just went through all the doors till he got me. But
Well,
it was
fortunately, he showed that level of persistence then to
oh yeah,
to
no,
come to your rescue.
you've got to be persistent in all of that. But it was pretty killing, scary.
Yeah, I can imagine. I was hoping you'd have had more funny stories about the about like the naked guy rather than being kidnapped
Yeah,
and potentially held hostage by
yeah. No,
by
there
by, by a stranger.
all sorts of things. All sorts of things happened.
But that's just it, though. I suppose you never know who's on the other side of the door. So anybody who's doing that kind of door knocking role really has to exercise caution.
Yeah, they're apparently making it illegal soon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so because people don't like cold callers.
Yeah, I suppose that works on both sides though, because if you're somebody at home, maybe you live alone or whatever, then you don't know who's knocking the door. I mean, you hear a lot of stories about like rogue traders or people who are pretending to work for a particular company, or they come in to check the gas meter or something, and they end up coming in and robbing the house if they're part of a trickster gang or something like that.
Yeah, there's lots
So I
of that.
suppose it works both ways.
Yeah, yeah, it does.
So, I mean, after you stopped doing the door-to-door sales, then you mentioned that you went on to try a different company. So this was the cosmetics company.
Oh, that was when the cosmetics company was online. I was actually bus driving at the time, up in London, and I thought, oh, there's got to be an easier way of making extra money. And I thought, I know. Let's have a look online, and that's how that came about. It was, and I thought I was being clever, yeah. And this woman said, deposit all this money, give me your card details. And me being green, and I really was, I trusted her. I gave her my card details, and the rest of her team got sales on my card that month. And then she sold me a load of out of date, well, close to out of date stock, much too much of it that she knew that I wouldn't be able to get rid of. And I was stuck with it because it was all done on my card and that. And I had received the goods.
Yeah. I mean, that goes to show that, how trusting you can be going into a brand new industry, especially if this was an online company as well,
Yeah.
that maybe you didn't have much experience of, considering you just spent maybe the last 15 years or so at the sharp end of the sales industry,
Yeah.
where you might think to yourself, well, look, I've seen and done it all now. Nothing here
Yeah.
can surprise me.
Yeah.
Considering a couple of the stories that you've just shared with us here,
I mean,
and
how hard
yet
could it
you
be?
were taken in.
Yeah, it was just like, even when all the stuff arrived, I thought, well, how hard can it be? Let's get out there and get rid. And it didn't work out. It just didn't work out. And I thought, oh, that's it. I'm not going to do anything more online. And then someone introduced me to, I don't know if I'm allowed to say the company. It was a crypto company that closed down. Yeah. And I put money into that, and I lost that.
What was the you don't have to give the name of the company, but what was the setup there? What were you sort of essentially buying into as such?
You were actually buying crypto, but it was like it was set out like an MLM,
Okay. So it was
and
more recruiting as well, rather than just
yeah,
making money from the cryptocurrency itself.
yeah. And that got, well, I think the bloke actually run off with all the money. I'm not quite sure.
There's a lot of companies like that, and they're still out there now. And everybody who advertises them on social media, they're all singing their praises and showing the income proof that they get. But
Yeah.
I mean, I've not really been involved in those type of companies myself, but generally what seems to happen is that they all pay out until they don't,
Yes,
and
that's exactly it.
they just disappear as quickly as they appear
Yeah.
in those cases. So yeah, I'm not surprised that maybe you came out at a loss at there.
Yeah.
Hopefully you didn't lose too much money in that
Well,
particular
no,
program.
I didn't have a lot left to do it. And then I invested in a company up north, an English guy, and I bought a franchise off of him. He was to do with another company. Oh, was it? No, sorry, got that one wrong. Then I invested in the American one. That was a really, really big company. And everybody was doing thousands and thousands of pounds worth of sales and everything. And I invested a lot of money, an awful lot of money, and within weeks that got shut down by the American government. But luckily, while that was all going on, before it got shut down, I'd actually met Wayne.
Okay.
You know, and that, like, he was supplying me my traffic and everything. And when that shut down, I was asking Wayne, I was harassing him, and I joined him. And when I joined him, I met you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember. So that would have been probably about when I probably first met you. Would that have been about 3 years ago, maybe, or
Coming
not as
up,
long as that? Because I remember at the time, whether it was 3 years ago or it was certainly
yeah,
at least a couple of years ago, where I did some organic marketing training for Wayne's Facebook group.
yeah,
But
yeah,
I mean, just before we sort of talk about that in a bit more detail, if we go back to when you were part of that, the American company that got shut down, it was quite a big business opportunity at the time.
oh, it was
I
massive.
think, I mean, for the benefit of our listeners who may not be familiar with this type of thing, I think it was positioned as a business in a box. Whereas you'd
Yeah,
invest a certain amount of money, you'd have access to these digital products, digital
yeah,
trainings, which you could then resell as an
yeah,
affiliate. So
yeah,
that was generally the setup with that. But I know they had some lower priced entry points, but
yeah.
then when you were in, then you'd
Once
be
you're in,
upsold onto other
yeah.
programs. I mean, when you were in there, I mean, do you mind sharing at what level you purchased at?
I got, I think platinum. I got, was it platinum or titanium? No, it was titanium. Luckily, I didn't. Well, I didn't have the money to go to the top one. People were paying something like £60,000 for.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, but I mean, I actually spent. I think I spent about 12 grand on what I had.
And what were you getting for that?
Well, I was a coach that didn't know what she was doing, basically. She did know what she was doing. All she was doing was every time she had a call with me was selling me, upselling me stuff that didn't have anything to do with what I was doing. Or not, like they weren't connected. Like she sold me into something else that provided traffic that basically they supplied emails, they supplied traffic. I remember one of them was 3 grand that I spent on it, on the call with her, because she talked me into it. And because you're on the call every week with somebody, you feel like you trust them in the end up, don't you? So of course it was when I sat down, I thought, every time I speak to her, she gets me to buy something for another couple of grand. And of course it was all for her own self, wasn't it? She was getting, and it was, well, I personally, for me, it was a massive con. I parted with absolutely everything that I had, every penny that I had. And they didn't tell you when you actually joined, they got you in on something like $47, and then the next one was 2,000 and odd, and then the next one was 5,000 and odd, and then there was the one after it. I think it was about 9, but it all adds up in the end.
Yeah, of course.
But
Yeah, I mean,
what,
we're not talking about small amounts of
yeah,
money
but
here.
what they were doing was they were getting you in on the fact that you could put up banners on free banner sites and earn, because they were earning thousands of pounds a day on these free banner sites and things like that. It was totally out of control. I really can't believe that the owner actually knew what these people were doing, but it was all based on the fact that you went in at the low price and then you upgraded until you've spent 60 grand, and that's without traffic. Then on top of that, they never explained in any of it that you had to pay out money to get money back. And then when it come to paying out, when you did do the traffic, you were paying hundreds of pounds a week and getting nothing back. You were lucky if you got a $47 in it. And then like you start to look into it. To be perfectly honest with you, after I'd been in it a couple of months and I sat and reflected on everything that was happening, I could see what they were doing. They were just milking me for every penny that they could get out of me. And I mean, even when you bought buyers, they were refunding these mysterious buyers. Do you know what I mean? And it was like every time you turned, they wanted more money for something else. Yeah. So you were paying and paying and paying and paying and getting absolutely nothing back. So I was quite pleased when it got closed down, because that ended that chapter in my life. Yeah. Because it was dire. What they were doing to people was absolutely out of control.
Yeah, I mean, if you just think that they did that to you, but this company made multiple millions before it eventually got shut down,
Yeah.
and you just think how many other people they were speaking to on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, and running the same spiel to them to try to upsell as many people as they possibly could, with knowing full well that the people who were buying these products or this training or this additional coaching aren't really going to see much in the way of return. If, as you say, somebody who had a lot of sales experience yourself knows that there was still something missing even after you were paying all of this out.
Their coaches weren't, in my experience, their coaches weren't coaches, they were salespeople. They knew what pains to get. They knew how to get the money out of you. Every time you spoke to them, they had another great idea that you could try, because they were making money from it, and they, it was crazy. It was crazy what they'd done, but the government got hold of it, and that was it.
Yeah.
Right.
So even after you'd spent all of that money and you didn't really get much of it back,
I earned $77.
$77. Did you ever work out what that was
I never got it out.
as a percentage of
I don't know,
of what you'd spent?
but I never actually got it, because it
Okay.
got swallowed up when they took the company.
Right. And you never got any of that back then? Because I know it when there were some lawsuits and whatnot, and maybe some people managed to get some money back out of it. I'm not quite sure, but you didn't get anything
Not
back.
a penny. Not a penny. No.
So at that point then, I'm surprised that maybe you didn't write off this whole online thing then as a complete and utter scam, because you'd lost many thousands of pounds or thousands of dollars on this wasted investment, but yet you still kept going. What belief did you have there that there was still something in this?
Well, there were people out there that were earning. There were genuine people. I've met genuine people along the way, and when I used to speak to Wayne, he used to say to me, "Just give me some time. I'm going to bring something out. Just give me some time." And I thought, okay. And then when it come out, and he said to me, I said to him, "How much is it?" And he went, "Free." And I thought, what? Right? And I thought, what can you lose?
Yeah. So this is Wayne Crowe from Traffic Domination.
Yeah. And it was brilliant, because like I got in there and I did your training, and I added you as a friend, of course, as I could harass you when I needed to. And it helped me. It helped me so much to make my first 10,000 was on your training that was within the system. And then everything got relaunched, and I still needed you. Because I love organic. I really do. I mean, paid traffic is nice, but organic traffic, you can't beat it, because you're meeting these people and you're helping them. Yeah, and it's so much different. Paid traffic, it's, it's like easy come, easy go, isn't it?
Yeah, so I suppose it's probably a welcome relief compared to when you were with the other company. You were throwing money at them every week,
Yeah.
to the tune of thousands of dollars a week by the
Yes.
sounds of it, with little in return. Whereas
Yeah.
with the organic side of things, you're not paying for any traffic, but the compromise there is that you're having to spend the time to maybe get to know people, build relationships, network
Yeah.
on social media. But again, I suppose that's not completely alien to you, having done
Not at all.
a lot of face-to-face sales in the past. So this
Yeah.
sounds like this would be a better fit for you overall. So you'd met Wayne, you'd started to make some money. Well, not just start to make money. You just said that you made $10,000 from what was essentially a free to join affiliate program,
Yeah.
which is a huge, change compared to what you were doing before. I mean,
Yeah.
when you made not just that first sale, but when you started making those sales consistently, and you could see all the money
I
starting
couldn't believe
to
it.
accumulate. I mean, how did that make you feel?
Oh, it's brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. It really it set me up. I was more eager to learn. Everything changed. The whole thing changed. There was no desperation. It was just everything in it, because I'd got with the organic training that I'd had. Because I'd had that, it put me on an even keel with everything. Yeah. And I had all the people that I could go to for advice, for this, that, anything that I wanted. I'd met people that were experienced in other things, different things, apps and everything. And then people that were working alongside me, and also team members, and just talking to people. You always learn. Networking. It is networking. For those that are already there or already in some sort of business online, you're talking to them and you're finding out what they do, how they do it, and if they've got a better way, a better approach even than what you have, then you give it a go. It's all pretty good. But I mean, since OLSP has been relaunched, I've made a further 24 grand. And I've been basically using your products to enhance my messages, enhance the way I speak to people, the way that I do my organic traffic. The it's a whole different. Do you know what I mean? And it's like that. Without that, I don't think I would have earned as much. People think that they're going to come in, get rich overnight. Even with, a free program, it doesn't work that way. No program out there is going to make you rich overnight. I mean, I kind of had that idea when I started online, to be perfectly honest with you, but I soon lost it. But I learned from both you and from Wayne that shiny objects are not all what they seem. And I killed my shiny object syndrome. But it's all, it all fits together. You just got to find what works for you, and if there's something out there that's going to really help you, then do it. Go for it.
Yeah, because
It
I think the one thing that I noticed about you, probably when we first connected, was you were quite heavily involved with Wayne's Facebook group, the Traffic Dominators group, and you were a moderator in the group, and you were quite active in there in terms of coming from a point where you're genuinely trying to help people, you're trying to troubleshoot problems that they're having, and you then become this very visible and present, recognizable face, a recognizable name, and you're getting that that level of authority and credibility in the industry as well, because you're a moderator in the group, so people are naturally going to look up to you for, for guidance and for help. And would you say that was an important part of you being able to grow your
Yeah,
following?
yeah, definitely. It was an important part of my learning as well. For everything, really. I mean, being the moderator of the group, it was only because I used to be in the group when I wasn't a moderator, and people used to ask questions, and because if I knew the answer, I'd tell them the answer, and I was helping people even then. And then Wayne said to me one day, he said, "Well, you're always there. Do you want to be moderator?" And I went, "Yeah, I'll give it a go." And I loved it. I really loved it. But okay, sometimes I've got like my stuff for my business to do. So I might vanish for a little while, but then I come back and there's, questions and posts and things for me to have a look at. And yeah, I can advise people on how I've done things, which is, it's worked for me.
Yeah. So I mean, if somebody was maybe at the start of their own organic marketing journey and they were looking to maybe establish their own level of credibility and authority, because I mean that's what everybody is shooting for, really, if you're trying to position yourself as a marketer on social media. uh, is that something that you would recommend that they do?
Yeah, yeah, to help people. It's not, it's not a hard thing to do. If you know the answer, then give them the answer, but make sure you're right. Because there's nothing more annoying than if you go online and somebody's answered somebody's question with something that's totally wrong. And it does. It's a wind up, and you think, oh, get your facts straight. You've got to do it this way, or it's not going to work. Or if someone will say, they'll have a question about an app because they can't get it to work correctly. And if I know about that app and I look and someone's answered them totally wrong, then why would you answer somebody with something you don't know something about? You've got to learn these things to be able to show people and to be able to help people. Don't just go in and help people and guess what the answer is, because it doesn't work. It really don't work. And I mean, you taught me that, because I mean, at first I was trying to help people. And I said, "Well, what am I talking about here?" I need to delete it again. But no, I won't. I don't help people unless I know the answer. If I know what's wrong, and there's so many people, is where next? What do I do next? Hold on a minute. Did you do that training? You'd know what was next. That does grind you some days when you get, a lot of people doing that. Like, I've done this. What do I do next? Well,
The next thing on the list.
yeah. Or hang on a minute. If you've done it, it told you what to do next. Why haven't you done it?
Yeah, I think people are always looking for that extra shortcut, even if you give them a step-by-step
yeah,
itemized list of activities to do. They're always still going to look for that way of maybe skipping a few steps because they want to get right to the end where the good stuff is, where the money is, or the success is, without doing the work
yeah.
beforehand. But yeah, I mean, I really love what you did in terms of the work that you did in the Facebook group, because it wasn't something that happened overnight. There was work involved, and it did take a little bit of time to achieve it. But you did go on to build some genuine credibility and create all of this goodwill within what is actually quite a large group now. There must be over 100,000 members in that group
There's a
at
lot.
this stage.
There is a lot. There's more coming in every day, and it is. And I mean, at the end of the day, you get people that come in, and it's a free program. Wayne's laid it on for absolutely nothing, and they expect the world. And yeah, the world is there, but you've got to do the training to get the world. but they want it all done for them. Everything, you know, you can't learn for them.
Even with the most done for you program, there is still bits that you actually have to do yourself.
Yeah,
And you know, it's kind of like what you've done with the work that you did in the group. You know, you built your own credibility and authority within, not just within that group, but now as part of the wider industry overall. I mean, nobody could do that for you. You know, you had to do that yourself. You had to put the time and the work in to do that.
yeah,
But I'm really glad that you did, because you're now in a position where you're able to sell pretty much any program that you want, because you've built that credibility, you've built
yeah,
that following over a period of time, and now people, you know, they know, like, and trust you. You know, you've overcome that barrier which so many people still struggle with. So I
yeah,
mean, that would take us on to probably about 6 months or so ago,
yeah,
when I was ready to launch my training program, the Walk Away, which is my organic marketing training program, where I basically
yeah,
teach everything that I know about how to generate leads, make sales via organic Facebook traffic. And when I knew that you were interested in that program, I was absolutely delighted. And I knew that you'd be able to make sales of the program as an affiliate. I think that's you know, a great position for you to be
yeah,
in that, you know, because you know now that people, they trust you, they look up to you, they look to you for leadership, for
yeah.
solutions, and if you make a recommendation to them, then they're going to, you know, they're going to trust you enough to follow through with it.
If it works for me, I you know, at the end of the day, I had 100% needed to get your launch, like to get your product off your launch. With previous trainings, I found your training so easy, and you know, I could get through it. And with the launch, I went into it. I mean, I spent about 2 weeks before I actually really started selling. Well, I wasn't really selling. I was just kind of advertising what was working for me. Yeah. But I went through all of your trainings and everything, and then you updated them, so I had to go through even more. And it just, I, you know, everything that you put in there, I've used in some way or other to be able to get the earnings that I've got from Wayne's products. So it's, you know, it's enhanced it. Without it, who knows, you know? But I know that with it, that is what worked.
Yeah. So I mean, you were able to make sales of my program quite quickly as well. I can't
Yeah.
quite remember how quickly, but it was fairly quickly before that first, you know, that first sale came in, and those first sales started to come in, and then it
Once they come in.
snowballed a
Yeah.
little bit, because we had that period of about we had that 7-day period where you made the $1,079.22
Yeah.
in affiliate commissions,
Yeah.
which I made the case study video around as well. And all you were really doing
Just tell it.
during that time was just sharing your results
Yeah. That was it.
on your Facebook profile.
Yeah. I was putting up results, and I put a couple of adverts up. I think, you know, you try the lad method and things like that. But it was mostly results, because I was getting results from the beginning. As soon as I started, I was getting results, and it, not just with that, with everything that I was doing, because I, you know, delved into your further training that you had done, and it's helped me with absolutely everything. I mean, Messenger, I was absolute crap on Messenger. Yeah. And now,
Again, which you'd think is quite surprising, because
yeah,
again, going back to your door-to-door sales
yeah.
experience,
But
you would
time,
think you'd be naturally good at speaking with people.
yeah, it's totally different online to face. There is, you wouldn't like kind of realise it. And plus the fact I don't consider myself a salesperson anymore. Yeah, because before I was knocking doors to get sales, you had numbers, you had to get them every day, you had particular numbers, and it was false sales. Yeah. Whereas now I can sit back and I can help people, I can introduce stuff to people that's working for me, and it's not like selling. And it's brilliant because I get to see their results as well when they start using the things that I'm using and doing things the way that I do it. So it's whereas knocking doors, it's the numbers game. You're just going through all the doors. You don't know how these people are getting on with whatever you're selling, and it is different. Online is different, and if you don't take notice of people, and if you don't help people, then I don't think you're going to get anywhere. And I tried to sell products online, with the beauty thing, and that definitely is not for me. Physical stuff like online is not my thing. But now that I've entered the digital world as such, it's not so much. I haven't, I've been full time now online for, oh God, 2 years. And I don't consider myself a salesperson anymore. Yeah. Because I use your stuff to enhance what I do. And then Wayne does all the selling, and all the systems do the selling. That's what they're there for, isn't it? All the different funnels and that. So it's not, it's not sales, although I get the benefits of sales, obviously.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, we're in online marketing, so there's got to be some kind of sales at some point. Otherwise, where does the
Yeah.
money come from?
Well, that's
There
it.
are still
Yeah.
sales there, but yeah, but I think with the organic side of things now, if you're doing the organic marketing, then there's not so much pressure on you because you haven't invested the money in paid traffic, for example, so you're not desperate to get some kind of return on that investment.
No.
And similarly, with when you were doing the door-to-door sales, you would be under a lot of pressure to hit certain targets, so you'd always have that playing on your mind rather than maybe trying to do the best for the person on the other side of the door.
Yeah. Well, that's it. It's more, if you don't get a sale, you don't pay your rent, sort of, on the doors. But here it's like, well, if I help you, then eventually, I will get some sort of reward, whether it be a financial reward or just to see somebody succeeding. I feel great when someone else reaches something really good, and I've helped them along the way. And I think, yeah, I helped them do that.
Yeah, I love doing that as well. When you get the opportunity to maybe write a post or something about a sale that somebody's made of my program. So I'm trying to
Yeah,
showcase the affiliates results rather than my own directly. I think that's really good as well
yeah,
to give somebody else a lift and just to show other people then that yeah, this is real.
yeah,
There is actually money to be made. It's not just a case of you throwing money at
yeah,
somebody every week and hoping desperately that you're going to see some kind of return on it. I mean, you've been doing this now, like you say, for full time for about the last 2 years.
yeah.
What would you say is the biggest achievement that you've had in that period?
Uh, well, it's everything I've learned, to be quite honest with you. I could only just, when I very first started online, I could only just turn the computer on and mess about a little bit on Facebook. I hadn't got a clue about anything, and it's like I wasn't brought up. I mean, as you can see, I'm a bit old. We didn't have computers. They just introduced the electric typewriters when I was at school. So everything has been so brand new to me as I've gone along the way. Yeah. Everything has been, there've been some really hard hurdles. I mean, the best thing is I think it's knowing that I've done it. Yeah, that I've actually, you know, I haven't just been ripped off for money, and that I've actually proved to my family and my friends that this, you know, working online does work if you've got the right programs and you've got the right apps behind you and the right training, which, you know, everybody used to say, oh yeah, she's going senile.
It's always nice when people have faith in you, isn't it?
Yeah. And I used to say, one day you'll see, one day. And well, you know, I think that's it. Their faces now.
Yeah, well, it does sound like you've proven them wrong, even though maybe it's taken you a little while to do it, and you've lost quite a bit of money, but you've also made quite a lot of money during this period over the past few years. So that's great to hear that you were able to come back from that and you didn't give up, and you were able to turn that around to see to see a level of success. So just before we go, could you let us know what your plans are for the next 12 or 24 months?
My plans, basically, my plans are to, you know, reach my financial targets, but do it in the way that I've been working, nothing bad. To move house. And I don't know, just enjoy life a little bit. I mean, you know, with the lockdown and everything's been affected, and I'm going to get out there and live a little on the proceeds of my work.
Yeah, that sounds great. That does sound great. If people wanted to find you online, wanted to get a bit more information about you, where would be the best place for them to do that?
Yeah, Facebook, Mandy Beresford Verboort. I'm there, and anybody's welcome. Basically, if you want to know how to do things, what I've done, and you want to have a look at what I've done that works, then you're welcome to contact me.
Okay, great. So what I'll also do as well is link your Facebook profile and also some of the links to some of the things that you're working on at the moment. I'll put that in the show notes as well, so people can have easy access to that as well. Thank you very much for agreeing to come onto the episode today, Mandy. Yeah, I knew this would be a good episode because I knew that you've done quite a few things in the past as well. So it's been great to get some more information about your past and your story and your experiences along the way as well. So thank you very much for sharing those with us today.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Okay, thanks a lot.
Okay, bye-bye.
Please visit internetmarketingreveal.com and davidwalker.net for more free content. If you need a domain name for your business, visit domainsreveal.com, where you'll find more than 1,000 premium domains. And finally, please rate and review this podcast. Thank you again for listening, and I'll see you on the next episode.